I hope this video is good. Yo, we gonna watch a video on gangs in Japan. Fuck it, bro. I just wanted to watch something.
And as conservative and organized as it may be, is no exception when it comes.
These niggas better be banging like the Bloods and the Crips, nigga. I don't want no school fights. I need to see stabbings and let me chill.
To the existence of juvenile crime, which actually saw a significant rise in the land of the rising sun from the 1950s up until the 1970s in particular. So much so that a form of organized crime crept its way into a place that should be a safe space for future generations. High school.
Niggas is so organized in life, they have organized crime. That really says a lot.
Bullies who take your lunch money and small groups of delinquents can be found in pretty much every school worldwide.
Wow.
But in early post.
Y'all see how these niggas is all standing? They were all told to stand like this, by the way. Fists, pockets, nastiness.
For Japan,
where
these fairly harmless crimes were taken to a new level. Well, at least in terms of scale and organization. Violence, intimidation, and theft were the bread and butter of the banjo and sukeban groups of young Japanese delinquents who managed to strike an interesting balance between being an innocent student and being part of an
Why she cheaping the hell out of that cigarette?
Today, we take a look at the rise of youth delinquency in post-war Japan, the gang-like structures that found their way into schools, and the impact that the banjo and sukeban ended up having on pop culture. If you end up enjoying this video, then please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want more Japanese crime and history content. If you're particularly impressed with my work, then feel free to check out my Patreon page, where you can support the production of future videos for as little as $1 per month. Now, without any further ado, this is the history of the banjo and sukeban, Japan's delinquent school gangs.
Nah, none of them niggas had to get like no type of pussy. It's insane. So it's the Aniki.
September 22nd, 1950.
Yo, that's my birthday! No, it's
not. A vehicle containing a total of 1.9 million yen in cash, the salary for over 100 employees of Tokyo University, is on its way back to campus when suddenly a 19-year-old university co-worker named Yamagiwa Hiroyuki forces the car to pull over. Yamagiwa takes out a knife, slashes the neck of one employee while forcing the others to exit the vehicle before taking off with the 1.9 million yen. 2 days later, Yamagiwa, along with his girlfriend and accomplice, was caught. But not before spending around 200,000 yen of the stolen money, some of which was spent on a brand new suit and a hat. My man was in trouble, but at least he looked good. When the police came to arrest the two, Yamagiwa
that nigga put 200K, and majority of that towards the suit is crazy. That's a dangerous man. That nigga did anything for that suit.
They made a desperate
body someone for a suit
to convince the police officers that he was, in fact, not the guy that they were looking for, but an innocent Japanese American citizen. Problem was, his English skills were subpar at best, and so he uttered the only phrase which came to mind. "Oh, mistake." The aptly named "Oh mistake" incident immediately made headlines across Japan, while the phrase "Oh mistake" itself became one of the most widespread buzzwords of Japan in the early 1950s. But why? After all, during the difficult early post-war era of Japan that was plagued with violence and poverty, much more severe and brutal crimes were committed on a regular basis. However, it was this case that sparked a huge debate
none of this shit, bro. I don't know how niggas got mad words and shit, bro. And there's probably like porn right here, so. And these pictures look crazy.
A debate that stemmed from the manner in which
the robbery was carried out, like demons.
And by whom it was carried out. Yamagiwa was around 14 years old when Japan surrendered to the Allied forces. He witnessed the war itself, the defeat, as well as the beginning of the subsequent occupation by the US, a culturally vastly different country. And now, while still being basically a young kid, he was stealing large sums of money and pretending to be half American in an attempt to save his own skin, all without a shred of regret or remorse. To many, the "oh mistake"
for damn near 2 million in a suit
incident was emblematic of a larger problem. Frustration, poverty, and confusion caused by a rapid shift in culture and politics were widespread, and that same shift in culture was now blamed for a rapid rise of youth delinquency. Whether or not this shift in culture
Yo,
and the American occupation
fuck?
were actually to blame or not is incredibly tough to answer. Crime among teenagers was on the rise not only in Japan, but worldwide. The fact that Japan was on the losing side of the war might have amplified this problem quite a bit though, and the numbers were indeed pretty noteworthy. Before the war, the average number of crimes committed by under 19-year-olds over a 5-year period sat at around 48,000. The 5-year period after the war saw this number go up to a
These
staggering
niggas was pop, nigga. My pops was in the war, nigga. I was pop. I ain't had no bread in my pocket, no nigga to steer me the right way. That's why.
126,000.
That's actually a lot. That's actually very sad though. Crazy. It'd make you think. Do niggas even need to go to war for real? Crazy. Crazy.
More worryingly, the number of juvenile crimes
Should we even should we even send our troops to war? I know. Oh, actually, no. It was back then. So 9 times out of 10, women weren't even allowed. So that's crazy. Crazy. Crazy.
in Japan not only failed to decrease, it actually went up, reaching a peak in the early 1960s. Crimes carried out by individuals also became increasingly rare, with crimes committed in groups growing more and more popular among the Japanese youth. In Japan, junior high school is the final step of compulsory education, preceded by 6 years of primary school. Junior high students are between 12 to 15 years old, an age that I think
they were losing
many
too,
of us
so.
can confirm is generally very problematic. It's no surprise then that junior high would also become a hotspot for groups of young delinquents, with students from lower class families who usually stopped attending school after junior high being very susceptible to committing crimes. Some of these
What's happening in this classroom, bro? What was the drip back then for real? Like, this nigga has a receding hairline in high school.
troublemakers managed to stand out.
He did that to himself.
Japanese school gangs started forming around the strongest
Nah, imagine, and you know how cool these niggas feel? Imagine imagine getting jumped by a bunch of these niggas. Damn. This nigga look like this nigga like a werewolf, bro. Like,
student in
I can't let a nigga like this put hands on me.
Banjo, a
Respectfully.
title that is thought to have originated from a position of the same name inside the Japanese Imperial Guard between the 8th and 10th century, while murder, human trafficking, and the likes were not on the crime curriculum of the Banjo.
For new businesses, 5 and 3.
The fuck up, nigga. Let me chill. Let's go on hot OD.
The way that their gangs were organized is actually quite interesting, and in some ways pretty similar to their more
What is this,
violent
Governor
adult
Cuomo?
counterparts like the
Can you
Yakuza.
pause the video? Damn, nigga. Damn, nigga. His nose is crazy. Nah, he can't be black, cause this has to be like some sort of racism. This gotta be like Ray Charles or some shit. Everybody here look like they tote something
Banjo
crazy.
were probably the closest thing to adolescent kingpins in Japan at the time. So what were these gangs actually up to? Well, overall,
Taking
nothing
pictures.
that wouldn't happen in any school outside of Japan. The crimes of the gangs surrounding the Banjo were fairly harmless in most cases.
That's crazy.
Intimidation
You
and
call me a pussy.
theft were a regular occurrence, but so was violence against members, but mostly against non-members of the group. What made the Banjo gangs stand out, however, was the high degree of organization found within these groups. Every year, in either September or October, a secret election took place where the next Banjo would be chosen. In order to find a successor, the reigning Banjo would organize a fight which took place on the school grounds where everyone got to show off their strength to the other students. The strongest of them all usually won the election, with 4 or 5 other strong students becoming his subordinate lieutenants.
That's crazy.
The rank of Banjo was usually held by one of the older students.
They ain't travel like what was it back then? Heroin? Nobody knew how like a heroin plug. Nobody could have started funding this. Cause he said it was like moderately like delinquent, so nobody had like a good heroin plug. Nobody could have funded this. Put some money into this organization. Let's get this shit running. Let's see. Let's really bring nigga pitches it like a shark. It's like, yo, like I really want to bring Banjo to like the ghettos. Like that'd be crazy. Yeah, somebody needed a heroin plug. They would have got this shit up and running.
But every now and then, a boy from a lower grade would prove to be particularly aggressive and strong. In that case, he would receive the honor of becoming a sort of sub-Banjo, which might give him a big advantage by the time the next election rolls
That's dick
around.
suck.
One of my main sources, a book titled Heritage of Endurance, also mentions a meticulously planned, well-organized scheme carried out by a banjo leader who ordered his subordinates to go out and extract money from other students for some sort of gang project. Japan just knows how to take things to the next level.
That niggas wasn't trapping? That's whack. Just pressing niggas, extortion?
Even if it's about taking your lunch money. The size of these gangs varied, of course, depending on how large the school was. The aforementioned source mainly investigated schools located in Tokyo's Arakawa ward, where enrollment ranged from 700 to 1,000 students.
Damn.
The banjo in these schools usually controlled gangs which contained anywhere from 20 up to 60 students. Doesn't sound like all that much, but it was certainly enough to cause other students a fair amount of trouble. But actually, violence at the hands of these well-organized delinquents wasn't reserved exclusively for students. At times, even teachers could become the victim of a banjo and
Nah, they sending hits on the teachers? I had a couple teachers that I would send hits on. Like 2. A lot of my teachers like me, because I'd shut the fuck up, so.
his men.
I ain't no bitch, though. I just don't talk to people.
Or his boys.
I'll slap the shit out of you.
An interview with 3 former banjo gang members gives us some insight into why exactly there were occasional physical altercations between students and teachers. Quote, "There are 2 types of teachers. One group of teachers is understanding towards the kids. The other group is old-fashioned and rigid. The former is popular among the kids. The latter is hated. A school teacher must be willing to talk frankly with his boys. Some teachers give themselves airs, as if to emphasize that teachers are a different form of existence from school kids. These guys should be punished, otherwise they do harm to less aggressive kids. When some boys don't behave well in the classroom, perhaps they want to show off their authority to other kids. They say, 'Come outside, I will punish you.' Young teachers, fresh out of college, don't want to be beaten up by the boys, and in order to avoid such problems, they decide to scare the boys first. They act strictly. They are making a great mistake. Their efforts simply make the boys more rebellious against them. Those teachers who are disliked by the boys are poor teachers who do not know how to handle the boys properly. The kids are all very simple-minded after all. Therefore, if the teachers can communicate with them, soul to soul, person to person, the kids will all obey them. But now I am grateful for those stubborn, rigid, and bad teachers, because they taught me that the world is not made up of my friends. Thanks to them, I learned that there are enemies as well as friends in this world."
That's crazy. Them niggas, ain't that crazy? You know, it's crazy how all types of people do the same shit. Like, all over the world. Niggas feel oppressed, they make groups. I mean, probably not nowadays. Niggas just making groups out the wazoo. But, but yeah, ain't that crazy?
End quote. Winning a certain sense of authority over the teachers occasionally gained the banjo and their gangs a certain amount of respect and popularity among other kids who weren't involved in that sort of business. Actually, in some cases, the banjo were kind of like celebrities inside their respective schools.
Full Sail University.
Oh, nah, niggas is dick riding the hood niggas? That's crazy. They had it on lock first. I don't know about hood niggas. They just stopped gangbanging after school. It was just put your banjo up, bacho.
Students paying actual money, as much as 1,000 yen, just to have their photo taken with a banjo. Such a photo would
Dick ride.
sometimes provide a kid
He's Asian?
with more than just bragging rights at school. Showing them to members of the gang and claiming to be close friends with the leader would in some cases be an effective way of protecting oneself against being attacked or robbed of that precious lunch money. The gang's weapons of choice when it came to combat on school grounds were their own fists, but when things got serious outside of school, objects like bike chains, wooden swords, and steel pipes were often utilized. Sometimes
You just got beat up in a street fight, bro. That's what happened. They found out whatever was close and beat your ass with it.
you'd even have competing schools fighting each other, which I know sounds like something straight out of an anime, but apparently it's true. The banjo of the losing side of such a battle between 2 schools often became a quote-unquote disciple of the victorious banjo, which could also result in a merger of the 2 competing gangs. Reportedly, there were members of actual Yakuza gangs who gave food and lodging for several nights at a time to banjo leaders who ran away from home. There honestly seems to have been no clear-cut connection between banjo and the Yakuza, but seeing that both groups
Hey, yo, bro. You know what's crazy, bro? Like, to be like, just to be like in these times, just to like talk to a nigga. I would really want to ask, why is Imperial Armani doing underwear ads with the Yakuza in the middle of New York fucking city? What's it called? I would love to talk to like whoever funded that, but there's a language like it's just crazy, bro. Time travel would be like the craziest power for me, bro. I have so many people to talk to, like just the past in general, like history. It really teaches you a lot, bro, because that's how niggas feel. That's still how niggas feel now. And these niggas, they did they dickhead shit for like a good reason. That's crazy.
Groups are usually made up in large parts
Get
of
this
social outcasts
cholo off.
and
No, I'm sure.
or
Isn't
people
that
from
racist?
lower-class
My fault.
families. Former banjo eventually joining an actual Yakuza or Bozozoku gang does kind of make sense. The banjo didn't manage to stick around for too long.
Oh, no.
Generally,
Cut
it
it
is
off.
thought that their time came to an end sometime during the 1970s. Their spirit, however,
That
was
shit wasn't
kept
cool,
alive by a
nigga.
group of young delinquents that was formed at around the same time by those who were not allowed to join the banjo gangs. Why were they not allowed to join? Well, because they were girls. And if the boys wouldn't let them join, their best option was to just form groups of rebellious delinquents themselves. Groups that would actually manage to become much larger
The
than those which were
skeezers?
composed exclusively of male students. These exclusively female delinquent gangs would eventually receive the name Sukeban, and just like their male counterparts, they created their own style, which allowed them to distinguish themselves from all the other students. Most notably, they altered their school uniforms by making the skirt much longer, sometimes decorating them with kanji and slogans. Kind of similar to the biker jackets of the Bozozoku, the lengthening of the skirt was more than just a stylistic choice, though. Motivated by a growing Japanese feminist movement that started gaining traction starting in the 1960s, a long skirt sort of represented a protest against the miniskirt that had become a part of the school uniform. A longer skirt was also pretty useful when it came to hiding weapons at school, the most popular of which were chains and razor blades, used to commit a similar set of crimes as the banjo
They was
gangs,
cutting
namely
bitches? Oh, nah. They was cutting bitches? Damn, nigga. They said the bonchos was knocking niggas out, telling niggas pop outside, might use a little something. They was cutting bitches. Damn.
theft, as well as
God
violence against
damn.
other students and rival gangs. And just like the banjo gangs, they had a rigid hierarchy and followed a pretty
That's a man. What's it called? Their fit suck.
strict set of
Like,
rules.
it looked tough in
Disrespecting
theory.
a superior or stealing another girl's boyfriend, for example, would result in punishment. A popular way of doing so was by burning the
Why were they
offender
so
with a
respectful?
cigarette, which was actually considered to be one of the less painful types of punishment, reserved only
Wait,
for
what'd he say?
minor offenders. Which was actually considered to a popular way of doing so was by burning the offender with a cigarette, which was actually considered to be one of the less painful types of punishment, reserved only for minor offenses. At their peak during the 1970s, tens of thousands of girls across Japan were thought to be part of the Sukeban gang. The largest of these gangs, the Kanto Women
Cause women will let me chill. Let me chill.
Delinquent Alliance, reportedly boasted a membership of around 20,000 members, which would have put them well above the country's biggest Yakuza gangs. Maybe not in terms of power, money, or influence, but definitely in
All them niggas was pop too. Nobody was selling heroin. Nobody in Japan thought to pick up a brown brick and make some money out of that shit. Y'all niggas just was gangbanging for no reason, cause of school. Nah, at least they had a good reason behind it. Nah, I'm joking. Nah, but some real shit though. At least they was like on some like, yeah, we might be assholes, but we're assholes for good reasons until like the shit ends up in somewhere else.
sheer membership numbers. Pretty impressive. The Sukeban's influence on common culture is also pretty hard to overstate. The style of the Sukeban became iconic.
Are those
A
weapons?
whole subgenre of movies inspired by Sukeban called Pinky Violence became all the rage in Japan during the 1970s. These action movies offered viewers a new type of badass, violent female protagonist that hadn't really been seen in Japanese cinema up until that point. For something even more mainstream, look no further than anime and manga, like 1975's Sukeban Deka series, which also spawned multiple TV shows and movies over a span of almost 4 decades.
Who the fuck is? Come on, bro.
Spawned
Who the fuck is this, bro? He's pissing me off. Why are there so many people around? What is this, bro?
multiple TV shows and movies over a span of almost 4 decades. Takeuchi Naoko, creator of the world-famous Sailor Moon series, was inspired by the Sukeban style, while her husband gave some of the
She low-key
characters
kind of fire, like. Hold on, T-N? Like, like 1990? Like, what is this, the 50s? She a little, you see that style? She a little spicy. Nah, let me chill. She, feel me?
Sailor Moon series was inspired by the Sukeban
hot
style,
as shit, bro.
while her
Let me
husband
chill.
gave some of the characters in his own manga series.
Yuck. 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 That ain't this the nigga with like a Mac 10 on his finger?
Yu Yu Hakusho, a look that was undoubtedly inspired by the banjo. These are just a few of countless examples of banjo and sukeban finding their way into popular Japanese media, but even the West couldn't quite escape the unique style of Japan's young delinquents. Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill Volume 1 features a sukeban-inspired character named Gogo Yubari, a 17-year-old Japanese high school student and assassin who basically kills for fun. Tarantino is known to be a huge fan of Asian cinema, so I guess there's a good chance that he watched a few pinky violence movies himself at some point. That skirt on Gogo Yubari might actually be a bit too short for a real Sukeban.
That's what I said. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, and apparently there's a Japanese female pro wrestling league called Sukeban, which made research for this video a bit more difficult than it needed to be. Nowadays, the entertainment industry is pretty much the only
Can you explain?
place where the spirit of the banjo and sukeban somehow lives on. Youth delinquency in Japan is obviously still a thing and always will be, though definitely not as much as in the 60s and 70s. It's all just a lot less organized and big scale compared to half a century ago. The number of juvenile crimes in Japan has fortunately been on a steep decline during the past decade especially, with only 16,000 reported cases in 2021, down from 47,000 in 2012. Compare that to the numbers of the 60s or the 70s, and it's pretty obvious why there simply isn't really a place for large-scale quote-unquote organized crime in Japanese schools anymore, even with things like bullying unfortunately still posing a huge problem. Regardless, it's kind of interesting to see that the hierarchies and social structures that seemingly find their way into every nook and cranny of Japanese society could once also be found among groups of underage junior high school students
some real shit right
looking
now.
to cause a bit of trouble. Which Japanese criminal organizations or subcultures would you like to see next? Let me know in the comments down below.
Who are the Bloods and the Crips of Japan? Alright, y'all. It's a classroom. We learned something about the East. I'm gonna throw this out after this video. What did you learn today? This is a classroom. What did I learn? I learned that niggas used to dick ride niggas because they was from the hood, and it still happens today. Thank you. Like, comment, and sub. Yeah.